Sitting at the start now, we're going back to the junior men's quads in the Fawley Challenge Cup. It is Clydesdale A.R.C on the left-hand side of the screen in the Bark station. In the Buck station, it's Lea Rowing Club.
And you just saw there Clydesdale having a real drama off the start. They completely stopped rowing. I'm not quite sure what happened. I just saw them stationary for a moment. There must have been a crab, but that's allowed Lea to just jump out to what looks like an advantage early on. They need to make sure they capitalise on that and close this race as quick as possible. So now Clydesdale playing a very dangerous game of cat and mouse with their side of the course. You see them correcting now. I wonder when the camera pans on side by side there, you can see Lea out to a length already.
I mean, it is a little bit what you pray for to have happen, isn't it? Especially in the early stages, it gives Lea just a little bit of breathing room, knowing that their competition had a little struggle, but we'll get a little replay of what's just happened.
You just watched Clydesdale there on the left-hand side of your screen, not quite sure what happened. Oh, it looks like he dropped his blade.
Off his seat. I think he's off his seat. Looked like he came off his seat there in the early stages of that race. He just had to put himself back on the seat. Of course, for those of you not familiar with a rowing boat, all of the rowers are sitting on a seat with 4 wheels, and that moves up and down slides or tracks. In the boat, the feet are fixed into one position, but it's the seat that moves, just like the rowing machines you see in the gym. And, of course, you've got to make sure that keeping weight down in the seat, down low, and that you're not pushing that weight upwards. Otherwise, it's very easy to push yourself up off the seat and onto the tracks, which isn't too bad in a boat to do, but quite uncomfortable for those of you who've done it in a gym before.
Yeah, I think especially in the start sequence where you're looking for explosive power. I remember, and this is the event that I used to row in, it's very much in a quad. You want to sort of do a couple of strokes long and then 3 strokes very, very short that are really pumping the legs at half slide, or sort of half of the stroke for sort of those not familiar with that term. And it can lead to you just almost coming up and off your seat, but hoping that the seat travels underneath you. And if it doesn't, we saw there what happened to the Clydesdale 3-man. And it's allowed Lea, who, to be fair, are on paper the stronger of the 2 quads. They were 4th at the National Schools Regatta in comparison to Clydesdale, who were just 4th in the B final, so a whole sort of 6 or 7 places ahead of them. But it's allowed Lea a much more comfortable race than perhaps they were expecting.
Wow, so we see a huge margin here that's opened up now in the Fawley Challenge Cup. That'll be really upsetting for Clydesdale A.R.C. As you say, wouldn't have expected to have beaten Lea Rowing Club necessarily, but having a mishap like that is always gutting, because you do think, what if? And we can see the bowman there just shaking his head. That's Matthew Fielding. So obviously not happy with something that's happening in the boat, or something that's happened. Big look over his shoulder there to see Lea Rowing Club in a commanding lead at this stage. About a 4-length advantage at this point to Lea Rowing Club.
It's a real shame for Clydesdale, actually, Sarah, because they've had a tough season, illness and injury holding them back and curtailing their progress. Several hospital visits, I was told, by 3-man James Morrison earlier this week, who of course was the chap who came off his seat in the opening stages, and they've had to raise money for their boat sponsored rows and sort of trying to gain commercial support. It's unfortunate their Henley campaign at this stage looks like it's going to end in acrimonious circumstances.
Yeah, coming down past the enclosures now, it is Lea Rowing Club in their distinctive orange rowing suits. They row on the River Lea, based in East London. Jasper Dendalk in the bow seat, Luca Ferraro in the 2-seat, Bo Hughes in 3, and Elle Powell in the stroke seat. Looks like they'll be progressing pretty comfortably through to Friday's racing in the Fawley Challenge Cup.
Yeah, big crab there from Lea. We just out of our sight, I think we just saw that Lea caught a big crab. Just wait to see when the camera repans. It looked like they've recovered it. I think there was a crab in the Lea boat there. A race full of incident here.
Wow. And don't we always say that anything can happen here at Henley Regatta? It looks like they got a little shot of adrenaline. We'll get a little replay here of what happened to Lea Rowing Club. Hasn't affected their lead. Oh, wow, that's
recovered it quick.
That's a heavy hit there to the bowman from Lea Rowing Club, Jasper Dendalk. Recovered well, though, and staying very composed. Been really impressed by the composure of some of these young boats. We saw Scots College from Sydney, from Australia, hit an umbrella on the course the other day and recover really well to progress through that round. And Lea Rowing Club, a big crab there, composing themselves to retain the lead that they worked hard for early to beat Clydesdale A.R.C in the Fawley Challenge Cup.